Welcome back to Interview With A Bothan. I'm one of your hosts, Lou, and this is Lenny.
Hi.
And today we're going to discuss the socio-political atmosphere that led to the creation of the Mujahideen, both in real life and the galaxy far, far away.
Just another Friday.
How you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, it's been reading week, so I've really not had extended social contact with people. So yeah, but I did go to my friend's house, and he very excitedly showed me the first 2 episodes of Kenobi because he liked it, and then I proceeded to ruin it for him, which is fun. Yeah, how are you?
Living the dream, as always. Unfortunately, I love that I'm just like, wow, I'm just going to go on the internet and say that I read a bunch of fan fiction, but like, this is a podcast about Star Wars books, this is all fan fiction anyway.
Yeah.
Except for Andor. Tony Gilroy hates Star Wars.
It's true. This is
People who hate a franchise can also write fanfic.
This is true.
But yeah, I've been getting really into like Mara Luke fics from like 2002 to 2005.
Specific.
It's because AO3 went down.
Oh, yeah.
Also, we do record these on a lag, so AO3 went down on, was it Monday?
Yeah.
It's like the 2nd?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was down for like 2 days. So I was just on fanfiction.net. And I've been sorting, like what I do is I sort by publishing date and then I go to the last page. Because there's some bangers.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is like people who were uploading stuff that they had submitted to fanzines back in the 80s and 90s.
Fun!
Yeah. So there's like a bunch of stuff from like Kismet, which is, on there. And Southern Enclave as well, but you can find most of the Southern Enclave issues on their archive.
Cool. I love stuff.
You love stuff?
Yeah. I
also got rid of all of my subscriptions and then immediately got a new subscription.
Such is life.
Yeah. Now I have a Plex server because I give up. I'm not technologically adept enough to do Jellyfin for outside my network.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to use Jellyfin here.
Okay.
So.
Oh, that's what you were fucking with? I just, like, whenever you're saying I'm fucking with a jellyfin, I'm just like, does it not? Why did they give you something that doesn't work?
Because it's...
But they gave you something that works in one context, and you're trying to make it work in a different context.
Well, no, you're supposed to be able to do it. I'm just stupid.
No.
And I probably need to buy a different router.
Shit.
The stock router from my internet provider is less than ideal for port forwarding. Like, I had to call to get super admin access.
To your own router?
Yes.
Huh.
And I had to sit on hold for like 25 minutes.
Goddamn.
For them to give me a password.
That's annoying.
I know. Is there anything else you would like to say?
I think I don't have much to riff on regarding publication info, but
I do want to hear more about your experience watching Kenobi.
I will say that. Yeah, so I was really high when I watched Kenobi, but like the complaints start quite early because they have like a recap of the prequel trilogy that like was so insufficient that I had to like explain to Holly, who was a friend of mine who like does not know that Padme Amidala is Leia and Luke's mother.
How's she dating Sam?
And not knowing that? I don't know.
Because he has like, I guess Sam doesn't like the prequels.
No, he does not.
Why does he like Kenobi?
I don't know. And the other thing, too, is that I think I had such a strongly negative reaction to it because I could just see Dave Filoni's fingerprints all over it. And it filled me with rage every single time I could sense it.
Star Wars is for everybody. But Dave Filoni.
Yep.
Also, I was thinking about it, and I kind of got confirmation. I think in addition to... Although I, at this point, like, just let the guys who are doing the 4K edits do the 4K edits. Of the original trilogy. In my head, as we get closer to the 50th anniversary of this godforsaken movie that has ruined our lives in the best way, is like I was like, wow, I really hope they release another special edition and they add something to the Han and Greedo scene. Because I want to know what they'll add. Like, you know, it's just like every time there's something more.
Yeah.
And allegedly they're releasing new special editions.
Oh.
Alongside.
The 50th?
Yeah.
That's fun. They would.
Well, I mean, the British Film Institute has a copy of the theatrical release. The 4K versions and, like, the Harmy's despecialized versions are taken from multiple prints. So, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like, because they're probably, I don't know if they're going to release physical media along with it. Which is, I guess, kind of the crux of the problem is like, okay, so you're going to put the theatrical release on Disney Plus, and it's going to be available for most people in max 1080p, which, like, we have a 2K TV. You don't own a TV. Oh, side note, you should buy a TV as soon as possible.
I know, you're right.
For the...
AI bubble pops?
No, before the... I mean...
What?
The problem is not the AI bubble. The problem is that, like... I mean, if the AI bubble happens, probably, like, all of these companies will go out of business, but storage will get very cheap. Which is kind of what I'm hoping for, low-key.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the market for a network-attached storage. And I don't want to pay a shit ton of money, because 8 terabyte hard drives right now, new, are, like, $280. Which is a lot of money.
Yep.
Because that's kind of too small for what I need.
But I like, I don't know what precipitated this. I think just generally, like, our overall conversations about like, I don't know, like, you're like generally encouraging me to, like, learn more about, like, computers and shit, and, like, find a niche to, like, make it interesting for me.
I say as I have given up.
Yeah, but, like, you do things for yourself that, like, I don't know, the way you synced your whatever the fuck to your Kobo. I don't understand how that works. Your little button
oh yeah,
thing.
that was just you literally make a fucking text file.
But, like, still, I don't know. I went down a very interesting rabbit hole, at least to me, where, like, basically I started by reading started reading the Wikipedia page for Linux, and then, like, didn't know what a lot of the hyperlink stuff was, so then, like, clicked through those. But then I found I, like, didn't know what, like, Wikidata was until this week, and now I do, and it's so cool. Yeah.
No, I think it's good. Like, and I've never been. I mean, I'm a person with a master's degree in Judaism. Like, I'm not out here being like, oh, you should learn about coding and stuff because you'll get a job. I don't think it'll get you a job.
No, at least not today. Fuck.
Well, I don't think AI is going to, like, take over the way people say it is. I don't think vibe coding is, like, really feasible because you're not working through the bugs. I think there are use cases. I think there are use cases for almost everything. You know, there's use cases for an old school plow, but most of them don't exist anymore. I don't think it's going to, like, upend, like, IT as a field or development as a field. I think companies will fire everybody and then hire everybody back at a lower rate. I think that's what's going to happen, and that's what is happening. But I don't think you should learn it to get a job. I think you should learn it because it's good to know how the things that you own work.
Yeah.
Like, because that is how you combat, like, planned obsolescence. I say as someone who has several Apple products. Sorry, Lenny, editing this. You can just cut the entire thing. Or don't. I mean, maybe the quick sidetrack, Lou and Lenny's tech troubles, is, like, the reason I buy Apple stuff is it just lasts significantly longer. Like, my brother has to use, I think he dual boots Windows and Linux because he has to use Windows for work. But my mom has always worked in art, and Mac has always kind of been for, like, people who work in art professionally. So that's what I was exposed to as a child. I have finagled my own file system, so it makes sense to me. And then on my desktop, I run Linux. Debian specifically. If you really want to extend the life of that, we can get you a replacement battery and put Linux on it.
Okay.
But if you can even keep that one.
Yeah.
And throw Linux on it and, like, use it for something else.
But yeah.
Okay, plot overview.
Oh yeah.
Unless you want to keep talking.
No, I do. I just have, like, one, like, final, like, just, like, wrapped up thing. Yeah, no, like, I do, like, I think because learning coding and, like, learning shit about tech was always, like, packaged to me as something, like, you need to learn this, like, to get a job. I, like, it chafed against me because I was like, well, fuck you, you know? But, like, the way that you frame it as, like, you should learn how the thing that your livelihood depends on operates because of, it's just, like, a logical thing to want to do.
Well, you should be able to do basic troubleshooting. You shouldn't have to, you know, make an appointment at Apple. And I mean, I've, like, had the issues where, like, I mean, I really only use Apple. I don't have Apple Care on any of my devices. I just pay outright for new batteries or whatever. Like, you should be able to do basic troubleshooting. You should be able to fuck with things if you want. I don't know. YouTube's current algorithm has, I think, realized that I don't give a fuck about analog living, and it's like, what if you made a website on NeoCities?
You could do that.
I could, and like that's more appealing to me because like, HTML's not. I mean, I kind of know HTML. Like, it'd probably be worth it to know a little more.
Yeah. No, I really want to learn whatever. I think it's Sparkle, the code that language in order to do queries on Wikidata. Like, that is something that intrigues me, and I want to follow that.
Most of my experience is in like C, C++, and JavaScript.
Cool.
Well, today we're covering Bacta War, which is written by Michael A. Stackpole, as have the last 3 books we've covered. Published by Bantam Spectra in February of '97. Would you like to do the plot overview now that we are back to our regularly scheduled programming?
Yes.
So plot overview.
Plot overview. Okay, so context. At the end of the Krytos trap, after we learned that the Zukra Corporation has taken over control of Thyfera and installed Isan Isard as their leader. That's not a sentence.
Sounds like a you problem, King.
It is a me problem. At the end of the Krytos trap, we learned that the Zukra Corporation has taken over control of Thyfera and installed Isan Isard as their leader. Because this was technically a homegrown coup, the New Republic views it as politically untenable for them to officially intervene. However, Isan Isard is #evil, and her being in charge of the galaxy's sole source of Bacta seems like it would probably be bad. So Rogue Squadron have all resigned to their commissions in order to live their truth, aka return to their roots as terrorists, and waging asymmetric warfare like the good old days.
The good old days.
You know, Hoth, I guess, but that's not a good old day.
The Hoth was not a good old day.
That was a bad day.
Hoth was a very bad time, I think, for everybody involved.
Okay, maybe a Death Star for killing the Death Star. That was good old fashioned. Anyway.
Yeah, it's so good they did it twice.
Yep. So Bacta War is set 7 years after the Battle of Yavin and opens with Corran Horn playing with his fancy new lightsaber and reflecting on his choice to turn down Luke Skywalker's offer to train as a Jedi Knight. His absence awakens Mirax, with whom he is now living. And then Corran gets ass, boo, hiss. I hate this man. Like Corran, Wedge Antilles is also freaking out about the choices he's made. The rogues now have no weapons, no base, no fuel, no funds, no tech workers, while Isard has a planet, super Star Destroyers, the Thyferan Home Defense Corps at hand. And she also has the council of Fleary Voru, former governor of Corellia and former leader of Black Sun, who was freed from Kessel by the New Republic, and then he worked as a double agent without the New Republic knowing. Anyway, when they inserted him onto Coruscant as part of the effort to destabilize Isard when she had control of Coruscant. So now that he's been smelled as a rat, he's hitched himself to Isard's sinking ship, but in the process is making absolute bank because he's, in the Bacta business, which is quite lucrative. And Arisi Delaret, who we learn at the end of the last book was a spy the entire time, is back on Thyfera as well, heading up a squadron in the THDC, not to be confused with THC. Good news is that Tycho Selchu has millions of credit from when Isard was trying to frame him as an Imperial asset, so when the New Republic puts up the squadron's old X-Wings for sale, he's able to buy them up. And we're ignoring the fact that probably if you're whatever random ass funds were, the tech crew ends up leaving the New Republic as well and coming to work with Wedge on with whatever the fuck he's trying to do, which is overthrow a planetary government. So there's that problem solved. And Pash Kraken, former rogue, now back in charge of his A-Wing squadron, he had to stay with the New Republic because he is the son of the head of New Republic intelligence, so his inclusion in the rogues' defection might make their whole, quote, "we aren't working for the New Republic, we are doing terrorism because we want to," end quote, thing seem kind of bullshit. So anyway, Pash gives Wedge a visit and suggests a new base, Yagdul. And so now the rogues have a base, X-Wings, tech staff. They now just need munitions, weapons, and spare parts. So Mirax, Gavin, and Corran head to Tatooine to buy supplies off of Huff Darklighter, Gavin's uncle and Biggs Darklighter's father. Here, the gang run into none other than Booster Tarek, who strong-arms Huff into selling to Mirax et al. At a reasonable price, even though he is distracted by also wanting to kill Corran because 1, Corran is a cop, 2, he is fucking his daughter, and 3, Corran's dad sent Booster to a prison colony. Corran and the gang hang out with the Darklighters, and Corran gets emo about his dead dad. 2 folks who are experts in toppling tyrants, Elskull Loro and Sixtus Quinn, agree to join the operation. Elskull explains that they will eventually need to have the sympathy of the Asheran rebels, as well as know who they will plan to install as their leader, but that they also will need to take into account Isard's fleet of capital ships, so that any ground mission they do wouldn't immediately be overturned by an orbital bombardment. So the rogues start by stealing a convoy of Bacta freighters and delivering the Bacta for free to the planets that requested it. Obviously, this pisses Isard off, so she takes out her rage on Fleary Voru. Isard wants to react with aimless violence, but Voru gently suggests that they should force their clients to protect their own shipments of Bacta. This way, when Wedge attacks them, he'll lose whatever moral high ground he has and be alienated. Corin, Aiella, Mirax, Elskol, and Sixtus drop down to Thyfera to do some recon, which honestly doesn't get off to a great start because Corin thinks he can do Jedi mind tricks after only having read data cards. Waking up from a Bacta coma, Corin learns that Bror Jace, member of Rogue Squadron before his alleged death, is actually alive, and working with Ashen rebels. Aiella, Sixtus, and Elskol stay behind to do their part in destabilizing Isard from the ground. It also should be noted that Thyfera has previously, before the Zukra Corporation took over, there were 2 corporations that were in charge of the Bacta production that the Emperor installed, Zukfra and Zaltan, and Bror was of the Zaltan Corporation, which was overthrown in the Zukfra coup, which is definitely explains why he's, involved in...
Rightfully pissed off.
Yeah. So, Taldira, the Twi'lek warrior we met in Krytos Trap, pulls up with his squad of Tirdaki in basic Death Stars, which are cockpit of TIE Fighter plus X-Wing S-foils, and offers his services. Also joining the action are some elite Gand, who are there to evaluate Oral Quirg to see whether he's enough of a legend to use personal pronouns. Also, Mirax and Booster do some deals with the galaxy's hottest pirate, Talon Card. One of his crew turns out to be a spy, but that's not his fault, and hey, it ends up being kind of useful. So, interesting things happen between the exposition and the climax, but I will not relay all of them. The rogues hit Isard, Isard hits back, and so on. Frustrated by this stalemate, Isard decides to start rounding up 1,000 Ashern a day, and at the end of the month, she will kill all of them. So, her intent is to kill 30,000 Ashern a month. And she does this with the intention of drawing Wedge out to attack her, because she knows that Wedge Antilles will not stand for genocide. That's just the kind of guy he is.
A good stance to have.
Yeah, it sure is. And so Wedge catches wind of this and mobilizes his forces to ensure that the planned genocide does not occur. So, the final showdown is triggered with him leaking the location of his base through the spy and card circle, luring Isard's forces to Yagdul. Meanwhile, Wedge's fleet, which at this point includes Pashkraken's A-Wings, Taldira's Death Seeds, the Rogues, obviously, and the Alderaanian war frigate, Another Chance, which appeared in one of the episodes that I skipped over, and an Imperial Star Destroyer captained by Ser Yanka, who is there because Wedge bribed him to be there. And they all pull up to Thyfera to take the planet. The rogues are victorious, Isard dies trying to escape, Voru is captured, and traitor to Rogue Squadron and certified mean girl Arisi Delaret dies in whatever the opposite of a blaze of glory is. In the denouement, Booster Tarek really wants to keep a ship that he stole, the ISD Virulence, and he's also quite annoyed about Mirax's engagement to Corin. So Mirax and Corin decide to end their engagement by getting married. Oral earns the right to use first-person pronouns, and honestly, that's the most important part of this book. Yeah.
Okay, do you have... I don't know why I'm saying this, do you have...
I have no thoughts, feelings, or concerns.
You have no thoughts, feelings, or concerns about this book?
I have no pages of notes.
Do you want me to talk about my thoughts, feelings, and concerns first?
Yes.
We're going to keep switching it up.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, hear me out. I get it. I get Booster's thought process behind this. I don't think I'd want my daughter to marry a cop. Because, unlike Wedge, it does seem like Booster knows that 40% of cops admit to beating their wives.
Yeah.
I don't know why that hasn't... At no point did they investigate why Corin is the way that he is. Sorry that I'm just going to keep harping on this. I'm so happy we're covering the Wraith books because he's not in them.
Yeah.
And iJedi is going to be...
That's just going to be...
iJedi might be our longest episode.
Because it's going to be... It's a long book, A, and B, it's all Corin Horn.
And if there's first person. That's why it's I Jedi. Yeah, so you heard it here first. That one's probably going to be the longest, which is crazy because
Our last episode
Raito's trapping out today. We record these on a 2-week lag because we both have jobs. And it was 2 hours. 2 hours and 1 minute. And 9 seconds.
I would love to know what percentage of that is spent on us talking about how much we hate Cornhorn.
We didn't talk about how much we hated Cornhorn that much in that one.
Interesting.
It was because we, there was just so much to talk about with Kratos Trap.
It's true.
And I'm so sad we didn't get to talk about biological weapons, which I would argue are the more important of the WMDs, as your joke suggested. But yeah, no, I kind of get Booster's thought process.
Yeah.
I don't know, I wouldn't want my daughter dating Cornhorn. Or my son. Except I think Cornhorn is wickedly homophobic. That's my headcanon.
Yeah.
And I will die on that hill.
I will die there right next to you.
I want to talk about this more later because I find the conversation itself to be really fascinating between Ayala and Elskol. But I kind of just assumed Corellia was a secular place. Does not seem to be. Seems like Ayala does believe in an afterlife.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to me. Because, what does religion look like when there's something as, perceivable, I guess, as the Force? Where, obviously not everyone believes in that. Han Solo being the famous one, I guess, that everyone would know because of the movies. But you don't ever really get to see, and I guess this is something they do in the Disney canon, but it's not my favorite just because I think every time they talk about religion in canon, they talk about Force-related religions, and I don't necessarily find those as interesting as, I guess this is, unfortunately, critical support for the Acolyte. This is, the one thing that the Acolyte does not particularly well, but it does it, so I guess there's that. Where, showing something that is different, that does seem alien to the viewer, especially a viewer who, Star Wars is almost 50 years old.
Yeah.
I find that really interesting. I wish there was more. I understand it's very hard to write religion. I guess Timothy Zahn kind of does this with the Ascendancy books. A little bit, but not a lot. And then there's, the idea that, the Chiss themselves exist within folklore. I just want more Star Wars folklore. I want to know more about, and maybe this is just me because I love Corellia, is I just want to know more about the stories that they tell themselves. And I understand that folklore is technically different from religion. I would argue that that's racist.
What is folklore?
Well, when you're... Okay, so I'm going to use Joan of Arc as the example for this, just because it's the easiest one. So Joan of Arc was really, really Catholic, right? And, to be completely honest, a little misogynistic for her time. Which I think a lot of people don't really engage with. It was okay for Joan of Arc to do what she did because she was called by God. It was not necessarily okay for anybody else who was a woman to do that. Because they were not called by God. But Joan of Arc believed in fairies and believed in kind of the magic of the everyday, and it's a way to explain phenomena. The famous ones probably being the Changeling, and my favorite, the Loveland Frogman.
I'm unfamiliar with his work.
Just 3 foot tall little amphibious dudes. They've only been spotted twice. That's our local cryptid.
Oh my God.
Did you ever read the weird US state books as a child?
No.
It's because you're lame.
Hey.
No, cryptids are very folklore. adjacent. I wouldn't necessarily call them folklore, but I guess they are. But like things that people believe that we would not consider to be like Western organized religion.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see how that would very quickly get really racist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's why I prefer the term like myth for everything. Like, I don't really like the word religion because I think it's something that best explains Protestant Christianity and really only tangentially explains Christianity and Islam because they're universalist religions.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else really doesn't fit. It's like putting a circular peg through a square hole. Like, it technically, yeah, I guess, but like not.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really check all the boxes, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to learn more about religion.
Yeah.
And maybe that's our calling, as we just write. We somehow convince someone to let us write a Star Wars book, a la Kempshaw.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we forgot to note that Chris Kempshaw is coming out with a new book.
Yeah.
In October.
I'm so excited.
So hyped. Do you want to do a read through of that when it comes out?
What do you mean, like, what read through of that? Like
we can cover that.
Oh yeah.
Within 2 weeks of it coming out, I
That would
guess,
be really
or
fun.
within a month.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we have to buy it immediately, which does mean it'll be like $60.
Great.
I plan on buying it anyway.
Okay. Well, shout out the Hellenic Society of Greater Montreal. I got some
you
padding.
got money for being Greek.
I got money for being Greek. It's good to be Greek.
No, he's not going to bring Diapasic back, which is so unfortunate. Because, like, I guess Hera is kind of like the Dia equivalent. I realize Dia doesn't exist yet.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not really the same, but just, like, female Twi'lek
Mm-hmm.
pilot. And Hera has kind of the same problem as Kira, where, like, kids can't learn about unsavory things.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Dia is such an interesting character in and of herself because, you know, being sex trafficked is a really horrible thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is learning in real time. But part of me is like, I really, really hope that Chris Kempshaw recanonizes Wraith Squadron. I know he won't, but...
Yeah. I don't think he has control over what he can and cannot recanonize, right?
No, he doesn't. That's
Yeah.
why I don't think
That's,
it's gonna happen.
No, that's so sad.
That's my pipe dream. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
they want things to be different. That's fair. You know, they're doing the Essential Legends because it makes them money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because people know these titles. I don't think the High Republic was that popular.
Mm-hmm.
I say as I now have all of the High Republic books, because I forgot to say last episode, or maybe I didn't. I think I did say something, but I finally put all of my Star Wars book lot up.
It's beautiful.
And I have all of the adult High Republic novels. So I could read them if I so chose. I tried Light of the Jedi. I was not the biggest fan. It's just, everything's too clean.
That makes sense, given what else I've seen in the Disney canon.
Everything's too clean all the time. I feel like the Rebellion is too clean.
Which is fascinating. Because, like, I don't know. Because what's interesting, I mean, like, even in, like, I famously have my complaints about Rebels, but, like, they were, and I know that's Disney and Dave Filoni, who I shit talk consistently.
Dave Filoni, like, I do think makes very good, like, Y7.
Yeah.
To, like, TV,
No.
PG,
Mm-hmm.
children's media. I think he's very, very good at that.
It's his niche.
I am an adult.
And famously.
Like, I am adult enough. Like, having conversations about kids, adult. Not now. You know, presumably, when and if I have children, like, they're really good, like, preschool age to, like, TV, PG Star Wars shows that they can watch. Not all of them are Dave Filoni. I don't know who made the little... What is it called? Something. Yoda's in it. I've seen screen caps on Tumblr. Because I'm an adult who uses Tumblr still. It's cute. Like, the animation is cute. It's very, like, Bubble Guppies. I don't know. You babysat as a teenager, right?
Yeah, but for a child who...
So you never babysat babies?
I never babysat babies, no.
Okay, no. When I was babysitting, watched a lot of Bubble Guppies. It's very Bubble Guppies coded.
I don't know what Bubble Guppies is even.
It's a show about fish.
I do love
It was
fish.
on Nick Jr. Well, and my brother's 4 years younger than me,
cute.
so he was still watching like shows for little kids when I was cognizant that I was a person and like have memories of it.
Star Wars: Young Jedi Adventures.
Yes, I knew it wasn't Young Jedi Knights because that's a book series that I now own 4 of the books for.
Great.
Too bad it's a much larger series than that, and they're really hard to find. But
It's
and I think Dave Filoni is really good at making kids shows.
Yeah, but even in Rebels, I feel like they're just killing random people. That's like what they're doing, you know. Like, and I feel like the Rebels like don't come off as like quote like clean in that. Like there are like serious conversations between like Hera's crew, like the Ghost crew, and like Saw Gerrera of being like debates about like, you know, was it the Geonosis episode?
Oh, where he wants to kill the last.
Yeah.
Because the Geonosins got genocided and no one cares about them.
Yeah.
Because they're not human. That's my beef with Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
Which, like, weirdly, I do. Sorry. No, we're just going to go on a quick rant before I continue with my thoughts, feelings, and concerns. That's what I do like about the Tales stuff for the most part. I didn't really like the Dark Side one. Because I found the Barriss Offee arc. She's the Padawan that does a terrorism, the hijabi that does a terrorism. Do you want to know how she gets over her anger?
Tell me.
She takes off her headscarf.
Get the fuck out of here.
I shit you not.
That's ridiculous. Dave Filoni, Francois Legault, question mark?
I know. Like, no, and she, like, cuts her hair, too. We can't, like, genuinely engage with media about, like, women who do not want to dress modestly. Probably the best kind of manifestation of this is like ex-Mormon stuff. Weirdly. Yeah. Like you couldn't have the what Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is, right? Sorry. Now we're gonna have to put Secret Lives of Mormon Wives in the show notes.
Beautiful.
And yes, it's scripted, and yes, like Mormonism is an interesting religion, to say the least.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm actually glad I don't know anything about the Mormons, because every time you tell me something, I'm like, wow!
But, like, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is 6 women, question mark, of varying levels of observance. And, I mean, like, this is kind of an issue within Mormonism as well, because a lot of people who don't live in Utah, and even people who do live in Utah, like, also let me preface this by saying I'm not Mormon. Like, Mormonism as a concept is interesting to me, but this was not something I was raised in. The only exposure I had to it before I was 16 was this girl that I ran cross country with, who I turned on Black Jesus, the Adult Swim show, and she had a fucking fit.
Damn.
Because Jesus can't be black. Because black people couldn't even have like gotten the priesthood until the fucking 80s. You could not be black and go to heaven until the fucking 80s.
That's fucking wild.
But, you know, some of them wear garments, Mormon underwear. Some of them have children out of wedlock. Don't laugh at me. Some of them
I'm laughing at myself.
Are ex-Mormon. Like, they are no longer Mormon. And then you have people who converted who are no longer Mormon or who are still Mormon. And I don't really think you could get that about Islam or Judaism. And I realize it's reality TV and it's incredibly scripted, but it is like, I mean, it's an incredibly white show, but Utah's in a very white place. Because
I wonder how that happened.
Like I said, black people could not go to heaven because you need to hold the priesthood to go to the celestial kingdom, which is the highest level of Mormon heaven, until the 80s. And also, in their one of their books, which is somewhere, I moved it, because I do have a Book of Mormon and Doctrine and Covenants that I took from that girl.
Nice. Who
converted and then got like a rush temple recommend. And I was like, what do you mean you've been inside? She's like, yeah, baptize the dead. I was like,
huh?
That's crazy. Yeah, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But she converted for her boyfriend and she lied. But it's like, yeah, you have people who like lie to get temple recommends so they can go to the temple. because you need to go to that's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you could get that about Jewish women or Muslim women. Like, I don't think you could have a reality TV show where you have women who are, like, at least in the West.
Yeah. Why?
Like, my unorthodox life existed. It was not as like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think things would reach the popularity of
Mm-hmm.
Secret Lives.
Yeah.
Also, my unorthodox life does not function the same way. Like, I'm talking about, like, it's about one family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's about the struggles within one family, but I don't think you could have that kind of, like,
Mm-hmm.
putting 6 women who are of varying levels of observance
Mm-hmm.
in a room together to see what happens.
Yeah.
And I do not think there are any equivalents for Muslim women, like, at all.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate because I think that would be really interesting.
No, it would be.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I mean, I've seen all of Secret Lives.
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen Real Housewives of Salt Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because I don't like Real Housewives, like, as a
Franchise.
TV. Yeah, it's not my favorite. And really, at this point, I watched Jersey Shore
Mm-hmm.
to the point where my mom had to block MTV when I was little. And by little, I mean, like, 10. And
Great.
Secret Lives is kind of the only things I've watched. But I, like, would love to see both, like, Jewish and Muslim equivalents to this because I just think it would be so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. That's
like,
really interesting because, like, I also, like, my impression of the Mormon church is not that it does not have money. Like,
no, they're, like, one of the richest places in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
so then, like, what, like, if...
Because it gets people to check out Mormonism.
Yeah. So that's interesting because, like, they're, like, kind of using it as, like proselytizing in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know, but I think that, like...
They state that they don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I have not really, like, looked into these. Well, and also, like, because Secret Lives comes out of Mom Talk,
Mm-hmm.
which I had never been witness to.
Like moms on TikTok? Is that what it is?
It's a group, like, the group of moms
Uh-huh.
had a TikTok group together, and there was a swinging scandal.
Oh?
Yeah, which is why they got the reality TV show.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So it is, like, a hyper-specific kind of, like...
series of events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, I think so, too. I also think that, like, I don't know, sort of going back to, like, the whole Dave Filoni and, like, she takes off her headscarf and then she's happy thing is, like, I think because of that, like, pre-existing trope in Western media of, like, you, like, shed the trappings of, like, your, like... patriarchal, like, other culture, and then you are immediately, like, transported to a land of milk and honey and freedom.
It's really giving lives to two.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that sort of narrative in a context where, like, secularism is, like, upheld as A, something that fucking exists, B, something that, like, provides safe haven for, like, sexual progressive ideals, like, with...
which, and for some women it does. Like, some women, they just cannot reconcile the religion they were raised in or the culture they were raised in and, like, having agency. And, I mean, that happens regardless of religion. Yeah. Like, it's not, like... anyone.
Yeah. No, I think... no, and I think... but it's interesting because I feel like I don't know, I feel like if I'm channeling my inner average voter, like, or not necessarily, I don't know, I think...
I love your inner average voter.
I feel like if like isolating this, like, conversation to, like, Quebec, because, like, even though I am not from here, I feel like I only really started thinking about secularism once I moved here. I don't know why.
I tried to explain that to Leo the other day.
Yeah!
Because I was like, I had never...
not once.
Well, and it's like... not that the United States, like, is truly a pluralistic society.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I did grow up in an area that was, like, predominantly Catholic families who didn't baptize their kids.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, we had a mix of people. Like, I just had never thought about it. Like, genuinely was like, okay, yeah, I have friends that are Jews. Like,
Yeah.
they're Jews.
Yeah.
None of them were observant.
Mm-hmm.
Until I got to university. And then it was like, okay, yeah, like, even a lot of the time I was the only person who was not Jewish in the room. Like, it just didn't,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
And it really seems to bother people here.
Yeah.
And I just, like, cannot.
It makes no sense to me. Yeah. So, like, it's something that I have to explain when I return to the States, especially because of the way the States are right now and the way Canada is projecting itself right now.
The United States of America. This
Why?
is United Mexican States erasure.
The way the United States of America is right now, and the way it's been for a while, and
Did
always.
you mean that
What?
the war in Iran is bringing Armageddon?
This is a new and unique concept to the American psyche. I'm joking.
Did you not see that?
I did not.
Oh my, I'll send you the.
Okay, wait, but like,
sorry.
But like, since I've been living here, like, so I moved here in the Biden administration. Then Trump was elected. But even before like Trump was reelected, when people that I knew in the States learned that I moved to Canada, they were like, "Oh my God, you got out! Like you've gone to the perfect society." And then
the promised land.
The promised land, and it's
which is a crazy thing to say about Quebec.
I know, and so not knowing much about the rest of Canada, never having lived there, one of the things that I used to explain about like specifically Quebecois racism is like their obsession with secularism, which is always really fun because then I get to talk about the Quiet Revolution to Americans who've never thought about it before. But I also don't think
that they were doing reality TV at the time, but like imagine
that would be
a
so
reality
fun.
TV show about a bunch of women in their 20s during the 1940s.
That would be so good. Ignore the fact that multi-camera TV shows probably did not exist.
No, they didn't. I mean, there was at the time,
no.
like
yeah.
in the 1940s.
Yeah, no.
You know.
But anyway, going back to like what I'm saying about like I feel like because like conversations about secularism in Quebec are so intense and polemic, and there is
about regulating women's agency.
Yeah.
Because women cannot have agency in Quebec. They have to abide by the standards of Quebec values.
Yes. And like because of that, I think on either like quote unquote side of the discussion of like, no, like women can have autonomy and be religious, and no, women can have autonomy, like can only have autonomy if they are secular. Like the sort of quote middle ground that you described of like, no, like sometimes you can't square like the religion that you grew up in that like may or may not be patriarchal, not necessarily Islam, not necessarily Judaism, not necessarily Christianity, any religion. Like there, well, you can find patriarchy anywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's not hard to find. In fact, it's hard to avoid. So it's like, but because of this sort of like heightened atmosphere of discourse, I feel like that sort of middle ground example like is skated over because it adds, like, I think anytime there's a flavor of nuance in a case study, whatever preconceived idea any observer has, they will project what they want to see into the narrative. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why, like, a story like the girl and fucking Clone Wars or whatever, is it Clone Wars? Yeah. Is, like, I don't know. A story like that, I feel like because of the general context we live in and also just, you know, Islamophobia.
It reads in a very specific way.
Yeah, and you have to think about that shit before you put it on the internet.
Also, not to keep on the cop slander, Ayala seems to be incredibly weird about killing people.
Yeah.
Which, like, I don't know what the fuck she thought her job was. Other than, like, enforcing the wants and needs of a state apparatus.
Through violence.
Like, Booster Tarek very actively has beef with Corin because his father put him in prison.
Yeah.
like, I don't understand that she doesn't know that that's not her job.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I love the banter between Booster and Talon Card because it really feels like two old ladies who are playing Mahjong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, sorry, I'm just going to list all these in tandem and
Mm-hmm.
pick up on whatever you'd like. I am not super into the, like, are droids people or not conversation. But I do think because Emtray has, like, had the scrounging mode, but also is incredibly annoying, I feel like it humanizes him a lot more in certain aspects than 3PO or R2.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's just because the droids, like, take up a lot more narrative space in the Rogue books.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last thing of my thoughts and feelings is it does not seem like the New Republic is actually doing anything about the rampant enslavement of non-human sentience. And that seems like really bad PR. If your whole goal is to be like, no, we're not racist.
Yeah. And this is why Corran Horn has found a perfect home in the New Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like that really goes, like, the New Republic not doing anything about the rampant enslavement of non-human sentience, like, is related to a question I had in a previous episode, which is, like, why does the New Republic really not seem to give a fuck about the people on Kessel? Like, or just any of, I presume Kessel is not the only Imperial prison colony, like...
Well, Kessel predates
the Empire, yeah. But...
And bitches need spice.
Yeah, but they're...
That's what happens in any coup.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of people get left in prisons and forgotten about.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts?
I in fact do. I was lying earlier.
How dare you lie?
I know.
It's not the Jedi way.
Who said I was a Jedi? The Jedi are bad.
The Jedi are good.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick side tangent.
Mm-hmm.
I know we dog on the Acolyte a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you can leave this in because I think it's kind of important. But, like, I do think, like, the Acolyte as much as it leaves to be desired, like, for better or for worse, kind of is the reason you got into this at all.
Yeah.
And got me back in. Like, I think it does serve its place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This all does in fact go back to the Acolyte.
Shout out to Leslie Headland,
I guess.
I
Fuck.
guess. Critical support.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have thoughts?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any concerns?
Several. I share your concerns about the fact that no one, yours and Booster Tarek's concerns about Corran Horn's character, because fuck this guy.
We can't say character. Commenting on someone's character is a Mormon thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The essence of his soul. How's that?
That works.
Yeah. Well, okay, so one, it was interesting to hear Elskull's perspective on the trial of Tycho Selchu, because we talked a bit about that in previous episodes, if I recall correctly.
We did spend quite a bit of time talking about Tycho.
Yeah, so I do love, like, hearing the perspective of someone who definitely hates the Empire, but also is suspicious of the New Republic, and that her perspective of the Tycho's trial was like, don't love that.
That's pretty sus.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty sus.
Yeah, it was. The fact that Corran spends, like, all his time on Tatooine just being mad that his girlfriend and his 18-year-old coworker are both cooler than him. Like...
Sounds like a skill issue.
Yeah. No, because he was just like, well, we landed at this one specific docking place because Gavin knew someone, and then, like, you were, like, talked down that man who was mad at us for, like, taking his seats, and they stood down because they know who your dad was. Like, no one cares who I am. Like, grow up.
It's because you're lame.
Yeah. God.
Also, like, I don't know. I moved to a different country, so nobody knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Be okay with anonymity, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's
freeing.
It is, like, when you can go places and no one knows who you are. And not even, like, necessarily to, like, craft a new version of yourself, but, like, because I don't think I'm any different, unfortunately, than I was.
I can neither confirm nor deny. Because
You didn't
met
know me.
you 3 years ago. When did I meet you? Who knows, actually. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's been years at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I also think it's crazy that, like, Wedge Antilles, like, there's this one moment where he's reflecting about the fact that, like, what they're doing on Thyfera might cause civilian casualties. And he seems to, like, consider the fact that fomenting a civil war will cause civilian deaths in a way that seems like he is thinking about this for the first time, which is really crazy considering how the taking of Coruscant went. Like, that was not a bloodless event.
Well, you know who died in the taking of Coruscant?
Who?
Non-human sentience. He's racist.
Yeah. Wedge?
A little bit.
I've been saying this. I don't think Corran is a unique for Corellia.
No, it's just that Han Solo is unique for Corellia.
Yes.
Anti-racist king.
Love
I know
him.
Harrison Ford hates Han Solo.
Yeah.
But if I was to be typecast as anybody, I would hope it would be an anti-racist king.
Beautiful. Yeah. I don't know. I also, like, on my... I don't know how many times I've listened to these books, but because when I like a book and I have access to it, I tend to listen to it to fall asleep. I'm currently listening to Greater Good to fall asleep right now, and it's a great time. I did dream about... It was an anxiety dream about being on a spaceship and doing a bad job. No time to unpack that. But I'm getting...
If it makes you feel any better, I've been watching that Soviet show that has Emilia Clarke in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching it with Leo, and he woke up and he was like, I had this dream that I was arrested by the RCMP, which, like, doesn't exist in Quebec. They have their own provincial police because of his affiliation with, like, the Russian mob. And I was like, I think this is...
related to the television program.
The television program?
I think it's my new favorite way to describe it, TV.
That's fair.
Yeah, but on this revisiting whatever the fuck of this book, of this series, I'm getting more Gavin Darkletter pilled, and I think he is the real main character, because I feel like...
get my...
Yeah.
I love him.
He's great.
He's so fun.
Yeah. I felt a great amount of... I don't know. Just the fact that he... when Captain Convarian and his, like, ISD shows up at a, like, Bacta transaction that Wedge is sabotaging, and everybody scatters. It seems like Gavin is dead, but it turns out that he just did a random jump into hyperspace and luckily did not die, because that's a very risky thing to do. And then he recalculated and made for Halanet, and then the, like, Convarian and Arisi show up and murder everybody on Halanet. Like, Gavin thinks it's his fault that happens. He thinks it's that they followed him there, and that's how they discovered the existence of Halanet, or, like, that's why they retaliated against Halanet. But like, that would have happened if he was there or not. But the fact that for a good amount of time he thinks it's his fault, I felt very bad for him because I love him. But I also think he's I mean, it makes a lot of sense given that he is a teenager and you mature, like, you change a lot in your later teen years and early 20s, which I've learned. And it's interesting. And I think the way Gavin grows up in the context of being in Rogue Squadron is very interesting and well done. And I liked, there's that standoff that he has with Arisi when he's fleeing Halanet, when she's trying to goad him into going head to head with her, and he's like, fucking no. Like, I'm leaving.
Goodbye.
Fuck you. Bye. It just, he is much younger than I am now, but I feel that...
Well, yeah, you're the same age as...
Fucking...
Wait, yeah, because your birthday was...
Yeah, I'm 25.
Yeah, you're the same age as Cornhorn.
I feel like I'm better than him. Oh, I thought of because my brain is stupid, and I still ruminate on the fact that my name in the Discord was Cornhorn's Mind Cop.
You know, if you knew more about computers, you could change it.
I did change it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I changed it to Face Laurent's Guilt, but I think I would change it again to Wedge Antilles' Imposter Syndrome, but I feel like that's too egotistical. But
I don't even know what my name is.
yours is Ton Fanion's Empathy,
Yeah.
which is good.
Jasmine Akbar has big John McCain vibes. Is the second to last thing I sent in this Discord. The last one is Anakin ain't the chosen one, he's Samson.
That's great. Like of Samson and Delilah?
Yeah.
The biblical Samson? Fascinating. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Love
that.
I love
John
Talon
McCain
Card.
vibe.
I don't think I've seen that. That's great. I just have Talon Card in all caps because I'm deeply normal.
About as normal as you are about Wedge.
Mm-hmm. Which is to say not at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's
Speaking of Wedge, though, there are other
like,
people.
Are you secretly writing Wedge fanfiction?
No, I've
There's
never.
been a lot of Wedge fanfic.
That's not me.
recently. Okay.
That's good to know, though.
No, that's very good.
Well, I would hope it's not me if it's bad fanfic.
Well, if you had just started writing it,
I guess yeah, it's a skill to build. No, sometimes I try to write fiction. Like my friend American Olive was like, I think if you wrote short stories, they would be interesting. And I was like, that's an interesting thought. And then I was like, I'm gonna write a short story, and I can't write fiction, but
you can.
I can.
You just take some practice.
Yeah.
You can put the bad stuff up on AO3, and no one will care.
Yeah.
And then it's like an archive for yourself about, because it's like, I don't know. It's
Archive
like writing.
of-
Did you know how to write academic papers when you were 16? No.
No, but
Did you know how to write papers that you currently write?
I don't know how to write anymore. But that's a topic
Everything
for
I
another
write
day.
sounds like a monograph.
Yeah. No, I text sometimes because I've got 2 modes in 3 modes in language. There's dumbass, union, and academic.
You just gotta add a 4th mode.
Fiction.
Crackfic.
Yeah. I really love Mirax and Talon Card's dynamic. I went to try to find Mirax/Talon Card fics. They do not exist.
Well, that's because that means they're fucking. You have to use the ampersand.
No, it's also
Okay. They
There's
just
just
don't exist.
yeah.
This is a niche you could fill.
Speaking of Mirax, I think it's insane that she was like, I know what we'll do to get me an engagement ring, or get you an engagement ring, is like when we take the Lusankya, I'm gonna make a ring out of it for you because it held you captive, and I'm not gonna hold you captive.
She's gonna torture him.
Which is crazy. Like he was tortured there. Like what?
Yeah, he was tortured and imprisoned, and also now I'm just thinking about the idea of her making the entire Lusankya a ring.
It's a very, very big ring. He can't move. He's just sitting there with his finger in a superstar destroyer. He's like the little boy who couldn't leave lest the levee break. And I don't know. I also find Elskull and Ayala's interactions interesting, but I guess more on that later.
Because I really wanna.
Yeah. And I don't know. I will conclude by saying Mark Thompson should have given Talon Card a Quebecois accent, the fucking coward. So those are conclude my thoughts, feelings, and concerns.
I am so happy you're coming around to Gavin Darklighter.
I never disliked him. I just didn't feel strongly about him.
You just didn't get.
I just didn't see the vision.
You didn't see. I think he's like one of the best characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it's because he has quite the arc.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm gonna rank rogue members that are still alive at this time. Bottom of the list, Irisi. She's not a rogue anymore, but is alive through the end of this book. Corin. Fuck. Now I've forgotten everyone who's in this book.
I think it's also hard to do that with every rogue because a lot of them don't have significant arcs. Although,
okay, everyone I didn't mention is in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Wedge, Tycho, Oral, Asir, Gavin.
Noir Ven?
Noir Aven is above Gavin.
Above Gavin.
And Rosati is also above Gavin. I love them.
I love them too. Another thing that was in my notes is where the fuck is Rosati Ener? Like, she's mentioned maybe once in this book and barely at all in.
It's literally okay. But can I go on a really quick rant about Starfleet Academy?
Of course.
They have basically all but cut out Jaden.
Which one's Jaden?
The gay Klingon guy.
What?
Yeah. In this week's episode, which I watched after I watched 8 hours of Amelia Clarke, which maybe colored my opinion of Amelia Clarke's acting abilities. No, he was literally in it for like 3 minutes. barely speaks. Like, it opens with him leading this, like, Klingon ritual so he can add all of his, like, Starfleet friends into his, like, family because his family's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Because ecological disaster. And then the refugee ship got blown up.
No.
Which is a really horrible thing to happen.
Yeah.
No mention of the boyfriend.
Interesting.
Boyfriend has been completely written out. Not that he had a personality anyway.
Right.
But they could have given him one.
Yeah.
I would have been more interested in that than Jackie Kennedy and
the 21-year-old.
The 21-year-old. I don't remember what her name is.
She does really look like Jackie Kennedy.
She really looks like Jackie Kennedy.
As a 14-year-old girl.
They have, like, almost entirely written out Jaden. And it's like, this was the only... Also, fucking, what's her face? The lesbian? The butch woman who's in it? You've seen it, and you pointed at the TV and knew who it was.
Holly Hunter?
Yes.
She's lesbian? The woman who never wears shoes?
No. The one with short hair.
Fuck.
Her wife, gone.
Oh, Tig Notaro.
Yeah.
I love Tig Notaro. Why would they do that?
Her wife is gone.
What?
So there's, like... They're like, it's like, oh, wow, we did the base...
Mm-hmm.
Queer people exist and it's fine.
And then
we have an entire episode that's like basically a fucking sex scene between Jackie Kennedy and the 21-year-old who kind of looks like Kainu.
I find that really irksome.
This could be such a good show. And like the episode yesterday was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do really wish they could get like a 23 episode season.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they could like really do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Very much changed my opinion in that regard, I guess. But no, they've just like written out everything I found interesting about the show.
Damn.
And also like the time jumps are really weird because it's only 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So it feels like everything's moving really fast and like nothing happens.
I
yearn for filler. I yearn for seasons that take 6 months. Like,
yeah.
I think I would be enjoying it a lot more if it was,
mm-hmm.
you know? Weirdly, Ponies does not have that issue.
Interesting. Of like...
And it's like not second screen TV. I can throw it on the Plex server.
Wow.
Yeah, I know I could do this now.
Wow.
Isn't that great? Okay, what do you want to talk about first now that I've gone on my little rant? You can leave the little Star Trek rant in.
Okay, so we have... Tycho Selchu, for the past however many years, hasn't really had the freedom to go wherever he pleases because he was suspected of being a sleeper agent.
And then imprisoned.
And then was imprisoned. And
also was in the military. Like
military, caught, was imprisoned, escaped, question mark? I don't remember exactly what happened. Escaped? No, I said it doesn't free people, so true. But
she moved into like a low security plan.
Yeah, because he washed out of being trained as a sleeper agent.
He was not deemed important enough.
Well, not that he wasn't important enough, he just wasn't susceptible to the form of...
Well, no, but they kept Jan Dodonna on the...
Oh, true. Yeah, no.
He's no Jan Dodonna.
Indeed. No.
But who could be?
Exactly. And so because of all these circumstances that we've broadly described, he has not had the freedom of movement to go do what other Alderaanian survivors have done, which is return to the Alderaanian graveyard, which is the site of where Alderaan used to exist before the Death Star exploded it, killing billions. And in the intervening seven years? Or...
Well, yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
I mean, 7-ish.
Yeah, 7-ish years. It seems as, like, in the intervening 7 years, a sort of ritualized practice of commemoration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good word for that. Of, like...
Paying one's respects.
Yeah.
To the dead.
Has emerged. And Tycho does this. He does his return to Alderaan. He has been to the Alderaanian graveyard before. It seems like, but not in like a capital R, like return way, which is entirely
different from the neo-Nazi return.
Yes.
would like to note.
Important. What is the neo-Nazi return?
Returning to a white supremacist state.
Oh, it's not that. Okay, we're not doing that.
Yeah. No, we're not doing that.
No.
Well, I mean, Alderaan might have been a white supremacist state. I don't know.
Much to consider. But yeah, so in the time it's been formalized, the ritual that is done in order to pay your respects to your loved ones that died on Alderaan, you show up with some gifts that you would like to leave among the rubble. Yeah.
The asteroids that were created, I guess.
Yeah, the space rubble. And gifts, and then you say a sort of, from my understanding of the description here, is like a semi-prescripted thing, and that seems to be the extent of the ritual from like the narrative of Tycho's return. But in this,
he also thinks it's kind of fucking stupid.
Yes,
so it might be more involved than that, and we just don't know.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because I don't know. Because what I found really interesting about this was, like, first, the ritual itself, that there is a ritual is interesting. But what makes it more interesting is, well, not more interesting, I don't know.
You can say more interesting.
Yeah. What makes it... I think the problem is that I think about the fact that I'm being, like, recorded, and then I know, but, like, I know I can't, but, like, I just need to talk about why I'm doing this so that I can figure out why I'm doing this and then hopefully stop doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Obviously, it makes sense that he would want to, like, pay his respects in this way. It seems like it's something that he would do even if it wasn't a ritualized thing. It makes sense that it became ritualized because I don't know how many survivors of the, like, destruction of Alderaan there are, but, like, I'm sure because of the way, like, the galaxy works, it's, like, probably thousands or hundreds, like, at least, like, enough for, like, people to, like, communicate with each other about, like, what they have done when they have returned to Alderaan. And this practice developed enough so that there was a small industry around it, which I also found really interesting. That there was
I wonder if, like, it was kind of a cart before the horse situation.
Like, it was...
Where they, like, made up
the ritual for it to be commodified? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And so then it was sort of, like...
Sweetest Day.
What's that?
I don't remember.
Is it a Star Wars thing or a real thing?
A real thing.
Oh.
I don't know. Valentine's Day is very similar.
Oh, yeah. It's like...
But, like, St. Valentine obviously predates the commodification of Valentine's Day, but...
Yeah. No. It is...
Okay.
Yeah, because the way that he remembers it is that, like, it sounds like the return was something that predates the commodification of it, but, like, you know, this is technically anecdotal evidence.
Is he a reliable narrator?
That's the thing. No.
Are any of these men reliable narrators?
Probably not, especially because I think that Tycho seems to have a bias against ritual based on this.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, because military existence is very ritualized.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of getting I can't say words.
Commendations?
Commendations.
Yeah.
Also being court-martialed.
Mm-hmm. You should know that.
Also, like, having to go to events in dress uniforms. Presumably they have an equivalent to, like, the military balls.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like Tycho is doing, in the way he categorizes ritual, what, like, is done in the real world of, like, viewing things that he thinks are, quote, normal as not ritual, and things that he thinks are, like, lesser than as ritual, because, like, ritual has this trapping of being, like, less civilized. That's what I'm getting from what he's saying.
Francois Legault, what are you doing here?
Why is he everywhere?
He's the most influential man to ever exist.
Fuck. Yeah, I just want to, before we, like, dive further, I just want to prove my point that that Tycho is being weird as fuck about this. Quote, "They ritualized what Tycho felt should be a distinctly individualized experience, then encouraged each other to share their experiences so they could mutually reinforce their beliefs in the healing nature of the return." And there's so much to tease out here in his dismissiveness. First, the dichotomy that he constructs between an individualized experience and ritual, where ritual is, understood as more communal. And
also, King, you're in the military.
Yeah, like what's going on here?
You can't be critiquing groupthink here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are not an individual. You have never been an individual.
Yeah.
As fucked up as that sounds.
Yeah. So, like, that's the other thing. It's like, what the fuck where does he get off? Exactly.
What does he know about being an individual?
Yeah. And, like, and also what's necessarily wrong with, like, the survivors of a genocide being like, man, it was healing to return to the place where everyone I know and love was, like, murdered on the whim of a psychopath to psychologically torture, like, Princess Leia into giving information about the rebellion against the Empire. Like, I feel like it makes sense for these survivors to talk with each other about what it means to go back to their now non-existent homeworld. And it's very odd to me that he's sitting here on his high horse saying that that's somehow like an incoherent endeavor.
You're ready to listen to me talk about the Holocaust.
Always.
Because I have thoughts and feelings on this, but kind of the only equivalent we have in the real world, which might be on purpose, of kind of like this scale of death, is the Holocaust, like, broadly. The Holocaust. Everybody who was a victim of the Holocaust, like, every group experienced it differently. I, first of all, would really like to say, what chapter is it that Winter and Tycho talk about it?
I don't know.
I highlighted it so I can tell you.
Ooh.
Also, Wedge is so afraid of his own feelings. Chapter 11.
Bankruptcy.
Yes. The way that Tycho talks about Winter, and that, like, the way that their relationship works is really giving people who got married in displaced persons camps, like, immediately following World War II. And, like, some of those marriages were good. Some of them were really bad, because turns out when, 3 million Polish Jews are murdered, like, it fucks people up psychologically, and you've been starved, and, and a lot of the displaced persons camps, like, there was typhus. Like, the United Kingdom had to burn down the Bergen-Belsen camp and, like, half of Bergen-Belsen, like, the concentration camp, because of typhus. Like, there was just such a, when you're dehumanized to that degree, which I guess doesn't happen with Alderaan because it is so quick.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the kind of equivalent in the Disney canon would be the Gorman Massacre, which is more broadly applicable to dehumanization in general.
Mm-hmm.
Tycho is, like, talking about what happened, and he's, like, recounting, what was going on, because he, like, not that he knew it necessarily, but he was on the phone with his family and his fiance when they were murdered. So, like, that's a level of survivor's guilt I could never comprehend.
It's also the same day as his star day.
Yeah, and also your planet being blown up on your birthday.
Fucked up.
And then he, kind of immediately defects after this because, like, yeah, you're not going to continue working for an organization that
does that
willingly committed a genocide against your own people. Which ties in very nicely, I guess, with the last book, where everyone is like, you can't go up and talk because they're going to construe the fact that you were in the Imperial Navy at all with the fact that you were okay with this. And kind of like the conspiracies around Tycho in the context of his trial, where they were like, well, obviously, like, he relished in the fact that, his family died and that his planet was blown up, which I do think is very similar to the way that a lot of the world treated Holocaust survivors after the war, because, no one had ever seen industrialized murder on that scale. Like, I was talking about this the other day with a couple friends of mine, and I was, like, talking about, the role of women in, as I always do, like, women within administrative positions and being nurses and all that stuff, and, like, how they basically get reappropriated to be used for propaganda after the war. into that idea that like everyone is complicit to such a degree because you cannot do anything without being involved. You can't get a job. You can't go to school. You can't do anything. Like, it's just, I don't know, the way everyone, and then like, just watch ever have a conversation with Tycho and be like, hey dude, are you okay? Because even if it's been 7 years, like, we know from real life that like one does not get over surviving a genocide in 7 years.
No.
It's not like a magic thing. And in chapter 11 of this book, he specifically says that while he's, thinking about the return, I think this is where he's thinking about it, not that he's done it, and that it hurt deep down knowing that the man that he had become would not have been a suitable match for Nyestra. The life they had planned together would have been possible in a bygone age, but only if they refused to look at what the Empire was doing within the galaxy, wrapped up in its cocoon of pacifism. Alderaan had seemed insulated from the things that were going on in the galaxy. It was as if we disarmed, we set ourselves above and beyond the petty concerns of the galaxy, and we thought doing so would keep us safe. I can't imagine what that's like. I've never had a fiance die, because then that's like, in the real world. And I have known people who like were engaged to be married, but you have no rights because you were not officially married. So like, and even then, like when your spouse dies, like, that you kind of get the opposite side of it with Ayala, where they had been married for a hot minute and she already thought he was dead and then he wasn't dead and then she had to kill him, which is an entirely different, very fucked up situation. But then it kind of goes on to kind of talk about Winter and why he thinks that Winter is a good match. And it's that like the fact that they have these shared experiences, because there is kind of that idea that it's very hard to talk when you go through things like that, because the Death Star is kind of industrialized murder on a scale the galaxy's never seen before. Is like specifically the things that would have sundered him and Nyestra bound him and Winter. In many ways, his relationship with her astounded him because it was so wholly different from the one that he had with his fiancée. Whereas he'd done everything they could do to minimize their time apart. He and Winter simply sought to make the most of the time that they had together, which I think is a very interesting thing to kind of include in this. I don't know, because I feel like Winter gets shafted 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of this section, it's, ultimately it had been Winter who was the one who suggested the perfect gift to memorialize Nyestra, a woman she had never met or known. I don't know. When I first read this, I kept thinking about that. And then I read it again, and I'm thinking about it. I would just really love to get more about their relationship and like how that functions, because like you don't really get the same thing with Leia and Han, because Han is Corellian, so it's kind of different. But
I also think, unlike Winter, Leia just has so much more screen time and page time that like her character is able to I think there are discussions of like the impact of like the death of Alderaan like on her, in I think especially in like the first Thrawn trilogy, like the Heir to the Empire trilogy, but it's not like dwelt on so much because like she is a main character of the book, so like has other
things
shit going on, whereas Winter is like
a nanny, a glorified nanny,
and like at best like in relationship with like Tycho is just sounds like, at least in the way he's reflecting on it here, is a good match for him simply because of what she has experienced as a survivor of the same genocide as him. Even though I'm sure they do have plenty in common, but it's just
they like never see each other.
They never see each other.
He was not allowed to he wasn't allowed to know where she was because they thought he was compromised.
Yeah.
For several years.
Yeah. No, but it's interesting because like we do have a sense of the bond they have from when Corran first meets Winter, when they do the insertion onto Coruscant, and Corran's talking mad shit about like Tycho being a spy, and Winter's like, shut the fuck up, let me tell you what he actually went through, you rat piece of shit.
And then he doesn't care.
He just doesn't care because he sucks. Like it obviously, it does, based on that, it does seem like she cares for him outside of like their shared trauma, but also that conversation is obviously tied to their shared trauma because it's him, like her explaining that.
I mean, people are the sum of their parts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think we would have been friends a decade ago.
No, probably not.
Yeah, I probably would have found you. Well, that's the thing, is like, when you go through something like this, there's nothing you can do to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, it's something that affects you for the rest of your life, and it a lot of times ends up affecting your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandkids. And it becomes part of the cultural memory, I guess, of Alderanians as a people who are now a people that permanently live in diaspora
Mm-hmm.
because they have nowhere to go home to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a very interesting thing to include.
Mm-hmm.
I do wish we got more of this.
Yeah. But there are so many characters.
There are so many characters.
Yeah.
They should.
But less of Corin and Mirax and more of this shit.
Yeah, no, I was
Or
like,
no, Mirax is fine. Just less of Corin.
unfortunately, they are two peas in a pod.
Ugh. Makes me like her less.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it's like, no one says anything to her about this. Okay, we need to stop.
Yeah.
Stop ripping on Corin.
No, we got
What
better
else did we
better
have to
shit to
say?
discuss. Yeah, but the other thing that is interesting here too that I think could connect to Ayala's notion of the afterlife or whatever the fuck, because this is not the only commemoration of death that we see in this book.
Well, and Elskol talks about being reunited with her husband after they die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like, I mean, yeah.
In that conversation with Ayala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Also, there's anti-Semitism
where?
in chapter 3. This is just a side note.
Mm.
Voru starts talking about the cabal that succeeded in stripping away Coruscant's planetary shields and opening it up to a rebel invasion.
For those who can't see me, my mouth just fell open like the surprised Pikachu meme.
It's all the protocols of voters of Zion.
Always.
All the way down. It's not even a real thing. I hate it. I hate it so fucking much.
Yeah. Okay. So, I don't know. Just briefly a little bit more on the return. I do think it's really interesting that I don't know. Sometimes I can't help it, but I like have the urge to put my comparative religion hat on, even though that's a racist hat. But I can wear the hat and critique the hat at the same time.
I never compare religions.
No, that never happened. No, it doesn't. I don't know. I can't tell when you're being sarcastic sometimes.
Do I do that? I normally don't.
I don't think you don't. No. I don't do it in the real world, but I will do it if they're fictional. Because these people aren't real. Also, I'm not making value statements.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Don't do that. It feels like Tycho's making value statements, though, which is just so interesting. Anyway, point is, one of the things that's really interesting here is that Tycho's reflection about like the return is also tied up in his perceptions of like Alderaan itself. He describes the return as like being this way that like Alderaan's pacifism has been channeled into this one very intense practice. And
he does not really seem to like Alderaan's pacifism anymore.
No, he really doesn't. And I feel like that's another thing that like sort of repulses him about the return. And it's also really interesting here too, because like it's a very interesting example of like negotiating with a tradition, even if it's like a 7-year tradition. But like Tycho still does the return. We don't know whether or not like how abridged his version of the return is, but he also expands on the things that he says, like the like statement making part of the return, where like first he does like the boilerplate thing, which is like saying his love to his like lost loved ones and saying that these gifts are commemorating them, but then he adds on that the X-wing that he is flying is in itself a gift, because he is not on a journey of vengeance, but on a journey to just make sure that this shit doesn't happen ever again. And I don't know. I don't think there's necessarily anything like wrong with that, but it is, and like unlike the other things that Tycho has been thinking, I do find them. If he said those things to me, I would want him to unpack them further. Whereas
therapy doesn't exist. Therapy's not real in the galaxy far, far away.
Evidently. But asking someone to unpack what they mean doesn't necessarily mean it's therapy.
No, I know.
Yeah. But I'm not a therapist, which is a good thing. But anyway, so it's interesting that he's like thinking of like the return is like reflecting something in like Alderanian culture and then like negotiating his way around it so that he feels comfortable with it. Like I do this with like Orthodox shit. Like I want to do it because like everyone else does it and I want to like retroactively include myself in a culture that like I didn't really grow up in, despite the fact that I am literally Greek. But that's baptized. Not how and baptized. Like this is the religion that I'm technically a part of. But obviously, I have my several issues with the way the Orthodox Church views the world and my existence as a person, and also just the idea that like the way the churches became nationalized is so ridiculous to me. But anyway, that's just this is your mind on Balkans. Huh?
I was going to say you could specifically blame the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
For that one.
Well, actually, I think it depends which part of the Orthodox like region.
I know that Greek Orthodox was earlier, but like the kind of like now there's 86 kinds of Orthodox Christianity in Eastern Europe. That's a Soviet thing.
Yeah.
Or a reactionary thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Can we take a quick detour?
Mm-hmm.
Because I forgot to write this down. I would like to note that after Cornhorn comes out of the Bacta and is like, oh my god, bro Jace, you're alive, he immediately said, though we established that I was a better pilot than you, this does not mean I have no respect for your skills or experience.
No, bro says that to Tycho.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what bro. That's crazy. And Mirax immediately looks at Ayala and is like, too bad Bacta can't cure annoying personality traits. And I think people should dog on him more.
Yeah.
Because then Ayala is like, it's a congenital defect. I'm afraid Corin's always been competitive and contrary. People should dog on him more.
I agree. I also really, because Brojace is wearing shorts and Corin is like, I don't want to wear fucking shorts. And Brojace is like, King.
It's hot.
No, he says, shorts would be pants on you. Doesnd matter. And I think that's
also,
great.
It's warm.
Yeah.
Cypher is a very warm place.
Yes, it's very humid.
I also like that they had to invent shorts.
Yeah. No, because they keep calling them short pants.
Yeah.
Which is great. But the other commemoration of the dead that we see in ritual, not just in word, is at the start of the book when Ayala goes to visit Dirik's star in like the Karelian expat grave site. And that's like, so what they do is like literally, this is why I'm pulling a comparison out, because the book itself compares Karelian death practices and Alderanian death practices. Quote, unlike Alderanians, who often sealed their dead in capsules and shot them into orbit within the graveyard, allowing them to float forever amid the debris that marked where their planet had once been, Karelians cremated their dead exiles and used industrial-grade gravity generators to compress the carbon residue into raw synthetic diamonds. This imparted a physical immortality to the dead. The diamonds were then brought to the sanctuary and embedded in the black walls and ceiling to create a glittering series of constellations as seen from Karelia. Question number 1, what happens when enough people die that like there's just too many stars? Like it to fit in the thing.
Well,
and how as seen from Karelia, that's like a limited amount of. I know there's like a lot of stars in a galaxy, and that would take a lot of people.
I think a shit ton of people would have to die.
Yeah,
and presumably like most Karelians still live on Karelia.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, they kind of have like a dictator.
Oh yeah, that.
They can't get on or off the planet.
Oh yeah, that's relevant. Well, I don't know. I feel like Stackpole was like trying to get at like this idea that like death rituals say something about a society's values, which is fascinating and like something that I know is done and like understood as being like a thing to study in the study of death rituals. Unfortunately, the class I took on death and dying was taught by an evil woman who is also a bad teacher. I'm also not going to excuse like not knowing that much about this because of like a one bad lesson like I could read.
I mean, like I think it tells you things about a society, but not in the way that people want it to.
Mm-hmm.
Where like in Quebec, you have to either be cremated or embalmed.
The 2 options?
Yep. Famously, in both Jewish and Islamic law, you cannot be either of those things. So then it leads to people either being buried elsewhere. I don't know if it's just a Montreal thing or if it's a Quebec thing more broadly. Also, filling a body with formaldehyde and putting it in the ground, like not very conducive to having... I mean, I guess it's not any less conducive to having clean drinking water than just putting regular bodies in the ground. But it takes less time for them to decompose. You could, as fucked up as this sounds, I mean, and this is what they do, like, in New Orleans and Louisiana, is you basically have family crypts and you wait because it's above ground burials because you just can't. There's a hurricane and then all the bodies come out of the ground. Is you basically have like a family shrine. You put the body in there, the body decomposes pretty quickly because it's a fucking swamp. Then you just move the bones to the bottom.
Smart.
Yeah. That tells you many things about death practices in Louisiana. In no way, shape, or form is that a judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it is entirely based on like environmental factors. We do not know if Corellians who live on Corellia primarily cremate their dead. There are a lot of groups on Earth that primarily cremate their dead. And there are a lot of groups that feel really weird about it. I do think it's interesting to both believe in another plane of existence after death and also cremate.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's normally not the case.
Yeah.
Because even like, I mean, I feel like the big religion that, actually no, I'm not going to say that because I don't know enough about Hinduism. But like they cremate and they're like usually cremation. I mean, it really also just depends on where you are. There's the kind of like physical process of not returning to the earth, but like decomposition as its own kind of ritual and then feeding other things off of your body. But I also have so many opinions about death practices. And we could turn this into a 5-hour podcast, but I won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think my opinions on, or not opinions, because I feel like, I guess opinions, whatever the fuck, doesn't matter. Like,
You can say opinions.
My, like, approach to, like, understanding, like, death practices and, like, what you can extrapolate from them, like, I think is tainted from the horrible experience I had in the one class I took on this, which is unfortunate because it is really interesting, and I do think they're like.
Do you want like a popular book recommend?
Yes.
That I could give you right this moment?
Oh my god.
Do you want one or two?
One.
Okay, I have some critique about the Green Death movement, but it's Caitlin Doughty. It's From Here to Eternity, and it's like a popular ethnography of death practices.
That sounds awesome.
Here you go.
Cool.
And
wow.
Now it's stated very professionally.
Class I took was very like world religions paradigm. It was like, well, in Hinduism they do this, and in Christianity they do this, and this is what it says about these different cultures in like a very like Thrawn coded way. And then when I was like, hey, this is I think kind of neat, like colonial, and I don't like the vibes of this, she was like, well, you know.
She got really racist.
Yep.
No, I mean that is like parts of it feel a little. I mean, it is a white woman from the United States, but I think she tries to go out of her way to be respectful. But I found it interesting, and if you like it, she has a memoir from when she worked in kind of like more standard funeral practices.
Cool.
Yeah. That being said, I do not agree with everything of that movement. I think some of it is a little weird and woo-woo.
Yeah.
But okay, what next? Oh, would you like to hear my little fic that you can leave in or not leave in?
Yeah.
So I did one this week about what is the point of being a pacifist nation, or planet in this case. Give up all of your weapons. You are the only place to have done this, because you, as a planet, kind of have the clout, or like, not the clout necessarily. I guess either the government or the populace do not believe that anything abhorrent could happen. Empire happens. You're pretty perilous to fight back against things. You try to sabotage the empire through non-terrorist means. Doesn't really work. You start backing paramilitary organizations, which seems to have more trouble with infighting than dealing with the problem of the space Nazis. You send your teenage... This is from the perspective of Bale. You send your teenage daughter, who may or may not be the daughter of Space Himmler, on runs to smuggle weapons to the terrorist organization that you are backing. You still do not have any weapons. I'm not even sure Alderaan has shields. Presumably they do to deal with, like, space garbage, but who knows? Empire blows up the planet, committing genocide that has billions of victims. At least this genocide is too much for the average citizen to rationalize. Like, it's kind of one of those things where, and I don't want to sound like I'm yippee on nuclear proliferation, but, like, as soon as one country has a nuclear weapon, it then becomes very important kind of on a existential level for a nation state, which, to be fair, I do not necessarily think should exist, to also have one, because you do not want to be the only one who does not. And that's why we have nuclear treaties from the 70s that people don't listen to.
Yes.
Crazily, those people, usually not Iran, they sometimes enrich uranium, but they're not very good at it. No, they only get like 60%. That's like not even, that's not good enough to, I mean, you could, I guess, technically do a dirty bomb with it, but what is it, 1940?
No.
We don't do bombs like that no more.
Get with the times, Iran. Yeah.
Get with the times. Make better nuclear weapons. I have some things I want to say really quick about Mirax and Corin. They're living together before marriage in a universe that does not seem to have marriage in the Danish fashion, which I know that we also do not really talk about anymore. But I read it in a book once, and I think it's really funny.
What is marriage in the Danish fashion?
So essentially, it comes from like medieval church documents. And there is Christian, and this is specifically in England and kind of relating to England and then like Northwest Europe, where there are Danes.
Famously.
Close to Daneland, what is now Denmark and Norway, is Danes did not have, at this point in history, kind of a codified marriage ritual that binds you to another person forever. Like, you could be married to someone, you could have children with someone, but that did not necessarily mean that you had to be married forever. Like, divorce was an option, breaking up was an option, being separated was an option. You could remarry the person you divorced 20 years earlier. One of the kings of Norway did that. And the church called it being married in the Danish way. So, like, Harold Godwinson, not to keep bringing up weird medieval guys, and also everything I've learned about 11th century England, recently had, quote unquote, a wife in the Danish way, and was also married in the church to someone. I do not remember if he had any kids with that woman, but he did have children with his like first wife. When he dies, she is the one that like confirms that it is him who is dead. It's essentially the exact same as being common law married. But it's funnier to say married in the Danish way.
It is. And now we know this fun fact.
Yeah.
Yay!
Are you living out of wedlock, which is something literally no one cares about anymore, with your partner? Have you considered telling people you are married in the Danish fashion?
Denmark doesn't exist in the galaxy far, far away. What's the Star Wars equivalent of Denmark?
I don't know. I don't think they don't seem to get married on Tatooine.
Nah.
It's really given.
So they were married in the
Tatooinean fashion. Yeah, okay. Other than, how often does this happen? Because what's happening on Thyfera is the second genocide within a decade.
Well, I have a question for you. Is the murder of everybody on Halanet a genocide?
I think so.
Yeah.
So third.
Yeah.
More than three.
And then there's also Gorman. Like that.
That's different.
Was like,
that's a different. I don't think the Gorman massacre in that capacity existed yet. And that was also
like within the Disney timeline or within like
within the EU, because there's two of them.
Yeah. Okay. But
so like, okay, genocides that happened since the fall of Coruscant. Halanet, Thyfera. Probably other ones.
Yeah. It seems to be a
very common thing. Can they do anything about this? Like, not to be a dick,
but like
I feel like
it's the beginning. Like, there has to be a better way
because it seems like they just treat every genocide as an internal matter unless it's an interplanetary genocide.
Yeah. Which,
by the point where you are at interplanetary genocide, I don't think there's anything a government could do.
Yeah. No. I mean, okay, so with Halanet, it's like...
It is.
What?
An interplanetary genocide.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
No, like that is like a retaliatory erasure of a group of people for like daring to defile the sanctity of the Zukfra monopoly on Bacta.
Which is fucking wild.
Yeah. Which, I don't know, just, I have more on this, but like we can just keep it as a little side note. The way that Arisi Delaret thinks about her membership in the Zugfra Corps really just, it's so like nationalist / like quote unquote religious.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I don't know.
I'd just like to know more. How often is this happening?
That's a great question. I don't know. I
Can
mean,
anyone
like,
do anything about it
well, Wedge does.
other than Wedge? He cannot be everywhere at once.
This is true. He is but a man.
Or 3.
Or 3.
Depending on who you ask.
This is...
No, it's very interesting.
Yeah. No, well, because it's like, I mean, by the time Isard gets control of Thyfera at the end of Krytos' trap, like, she is not... I mean, it's sort of like the intentionalist or whatever the fuck, the two perspectives of, like, the development of the escalation of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Like, was her intention always to do a genocide on the, like, Ashern? Like, probably not. She had, like, but, like, the potential was always there within her. Like, arguably the way that the Krytos virus is designed.
A genocide.
A genocide, yeah.
And they care about that one, but only because it's threatening the sanctity of the Republic.
Yeah. No.
I mean, all of it's really giving allies.
Yes.
During World War II.
100%.
Where, like, everybody knew this stuff was happening, and no one cared.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no one ever gives a shit about people that they can't actively see, and it's very unfortunate. On that note,
Problem is that my knowledge of asymmetric warfare comes from having skimmed the Wikipedia page for it so that I could double check that I was using the term correctly in the plot overview. So, yeah.
well, that's like the basis of Star Wars.
Skimming Wikipedia?
Asymmetric warfare.
Yeah.
But also, maybe skimming Wikipedia, I don't know.
We're starting a whole project based on baseline knowledge and proceeding based on vibes.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
I mean, asymmetric warfare is kind of a thing from the jump in Star Wars. And Star Wars, in and of itself, is like Star Wars, the movie,
Mm-hmm.
A New Hope, Star Wars 1977, is based on the Vietnam War and the Viet Cong. So the rebellion in and of itself is the Viet Cong. And this, I mean, has been written to death, and Lucas has talked about it ad nauseum. But my first introduction to asymmetric warfare was actually, and not just, I mean, I got the Mujahideen, who become Al-Qaeda, who become ISIS. And, I mean, everyone else has a different thing that they're interested in, I guess, historically. But I was always really fascinated by, there's this photo of Ronald Reagan meeting with like 7 or 8 guys from the Mujahideen. And it is the funniest fucking picture I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that makes sense.
This is when they would get home. But, I mean, it's also called like guerrilla warfare. But there's the Lorex joke, I speak for the trees and they speak Vietnamese, that you learned about God at this point.
A couple episodes ago.
Fucking, it was a while ago we recorded that though.
Mm-hmm.
But, so the idea that when one side is smaller and less kind of equipped, and like stuff like this kind of, it goes back to as far as like the American Revolution, or like, and also the 7 Years' War, but like the North American theater, where American indigenous groups like just did war differently, mostly because of the way that the Europeans were doing war was stupid, and not very conducive to like actually effectively winning a war.
Mm-hmm.
But basically the idea is that, I'm going to talk about it in the context of Afghanistan. There's only one group of people that have ever won a war in Afghanistan, and it was like 2,000 years ago. Maybe Pakistan, given the current tensions where they have declared war against Afghanistan, should think about the fact that nobody but people who live there have won a war there in 2 millennia. But Afghanistan is a very mountainous region. So basically what would happen is, kind of that joke where it's like, oh, if Russia ever invades the United States, they're like gonna get to Appalachia or like the Rockies or whatever, and people are just gonna like shoot them from their hills.
Mm-hmm.
That basically actually happened.
Yeah.
Several times to the British and also to the United States and also to the Soviets. Not in that order. the United States was the most recent, I guess, besides Pakistan. Because they are popping the fuck off right now. Which dates this recording. There also is the very interesting element in this book, which is kind of the funding of what we would call in real life terrorist organizations. Because what is terrorism if not violence that is not sanctioned by a state apparatus? Mm-hmm. With, the Mujahideen and most of the coups that have happened recently, and also Vietnam, and also everything that has ever gone on in the Middle East. Ever. And for a very long time it was, with Korea, being backed by China and the Soviets, and then South Korea being backed by the United States. For a very long time it was really a United States-Soviet, they call it a Cold War, but in reality it's a bunch of proxy wars. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and you want to talk about it in regards to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot to tease out there, obviously.
Me calling Wedge Osama bin Laden?
Yes, and I think that's great, You
think that's great? Okay. He's not my favorite guy, but...
Osama bin Laden or Wedge Antilles?
Osama bin Laden.
Well, no. He's got some flaws.
A few.
Yeah. But...
that Osama bin Laden has a few flaws.
Yeah, I just want that to know that was to be noted. That's comedic understatement or understatement for comedic effect, which I think.
I mean, if you could consider doing 9/11 to be a flaw,
it depends on who you ask. Because that's the
Dick
thing.
Cheney?
Terrorism is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, no, terrorism is
yeah.
What is a state? What is a state apparatus?
I don't know. Do you?
The Taliban is the government of Afghanistan. They are no longer a terrorist organization.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting that, basically what Wedge does here is opt out of being sanctioned by a state apparatus in order to, wage a war that he views as just, that is viewed by others as unsanctioned. And
a waste of time.
And a waste of time. And also...
Mind you, there's a genocide happening.
Yes. So, yeah, there's the famous phrase, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. And I feel like I don't know, because the thing is that it's evident that, the New Republic sort of, tacitly condones what Wedge is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because,
they can't say it out loud.
No, they can't.
Because they have no money.
Yeah. And also...
Because they let Tycho Selçuk keep all the money that...
Which... Why?
Why? I don't know.
So that he could buy the X-Wings. The Tycho Selçuk's money has plot armor.
I don't think they thought that far. I mean, I think Sackville thought that far.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But I did not really get the vibe that...
No. It's not the vibe I'm getting from Mon Mothma.
No.
Yeah.
Vote.
Shrewd political actor she is not. Mon Mothma really is the Chuck Schumer of the New Republic.
Really?
No, she's more charismatic. And it also depends on which depiction we're looking at. Because I think she's very charismatic in Andor. But, the speech that she gives at the end of Krytos Trap is so
it's giving Rebels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's we're going to summarize the plot for you because you're stupid through Mon Mothma's mouth, which is...
Well, I mean, it drives the point home.
Yeah. It's good.
Genocide bad.
Genocide bad.
That is kind of the point of this book.
Yeah. No, if there's one thing you take away from this book and this episode, genocide bad. Don't
genocide
do it.
bad.
Be
the
Wedge
Yugoslav
Antilles.
Wars, not great.
Yeah.
That seems to be specifically what it's about.
Yes.
It's not cool.
Shout out Chris Kempshall. And also, I don't know, whatever. But what's interesting here, though, is that, Ayala has... Because the reason we want to talk... whatever the fuck. So Ayala has signed up to be a part of this mission that Wedge has, brought all the rogues on. Although, to be fair, it was Corran who first quit from the New Republic and resigned his commission in Rogue Squadron in order to do this, and then everyone else joined in. So, rare Corran Horn W, I guess, but also...
Critical support for Corran Horn. Maybe being tortured...
He needed
made
to be...
him slightly less racist.
Maybe.
He was like, damn, this could really happen to me.
It can happen to you.
It can, Corran.
Yeah.
And also...
You can always be oppressed. This can happen.
Yes.
You are not protected by being a white man who is a cop. Think about that.
So Ayala kind of... what I gathered is she kind of signs up for this mission as a death wish.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I've never had to murder my spouse or execute my spouse. Hopefully I never have to. That is something I would literally only ever like to read about in fiction. Not really the vibe. But it's just, yeah, no, I would probably also want to die.
Yeah.
If I had done that. Because how do you not blame yourself at that point? Especially if you had thought that your spouse was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Then turns out your spouse is not dead. And then within 6 months,
you've had to kill your spouse.
You had to kill your spouse.
Because he was a sleeper agent.
Yeah.
And yeah. Those are conditions that would make me also want to die. And, you know, and I think it's great that if you're gonna go out swinging and trying to prevent a genocide. That good for you, Ayala. Goals, I guess. But although she's definitely like signed up to die, she hasn't. It seems as though she is resistant to killing, which is
crazy because she's a fucking cop.
Yeah, like it seems in her like moral order there are just killings and unjust killings, which is not abnormal. That people think this way.
Yeah,
there are interesting conversations that she has with Elskull, particularly about the mission that they have to assassinate Arisi Delaret's father, Aaron Delaret, who is a prominent figure in the Zukra Corporation. And because of his high position, he is 100% complicit in the oppression of the Ashern, who are the species that get a semi-mystical joy from making Bacta and healing people, which has been exploited by humans for at least decades. I don't know how long Bacta's been around. Thousands of years. Okay, word. So a long ass fucking time.
But at least there was a certain point where they did have some semblance of owning their own means of production.
Yeah.
That has been entirely stripped.
Yeah, and it's escalating in ways that
not great.
Not great. It's escalating to the point of genocide. And so despite Aaron Delaret's complicity in this system, Ayala, does not want to participate in the assassination of this man. And she rejects Elskull's logic that what they are doing is just and is distinct from the actions of Black Sun, which I don't. Which
slavery is slavery.
I don't know much about Black Sun, not having read stuff about Corellia. So
Black Sun is not just a Corellia.
It's not just a Corellian thing. Yeah.
They are a organized crime syndicate.
Yeah, that does slavery.
And basically, all the organized crime syndicates in Star Wars deal in people.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Hutts, they all participate in the sex trade.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And slave labor trade.
Yeah. So that's pretty fucking different from staging a coup in order to prevent a genocide. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's weird, she and Corrin both seem to have this baked in notion of the state is what makes justice, and anything that deviates from that is therefore unjust, no matter what that action is.
Which we know, given the events of Star Wars, is incorrect.
Yes.
Is which I guess kind of goes back to the way that Corrin perceives Tycho.
Mm-hmm.
Is he has had his planet destroyed by the government. The state in and of itself said that everyone who was on Alderaan, their life was not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And Corrin just cannot seem to rationalize or internalize, I guess, what that means for his worldview.
Mm-hmm.
Which I find very fascinating, but then it extends to Ayala, where I'm girly pop, you cannot convince me that the planet you're from is so egalitarian and just. There's a dictator.
Yeah. It's called the Corellian Diktat.
And have you seen how Han Solo talks about women?
Yeah.
You can't. You're telling me there's not sexism on Corellia? You're telling me that women in and of themselves don't face oppression?
Yeah.
From the state? But then it's like kind of like, okay, well, she's participating in the state apparatus, which to a certain extent may shield her from a lot of, I guess, the unsavory aspects of.
I mean, yeah, and it also like might be a case similar to like Thrawn and Isard, who like although they were like part of groups that like were and are oppressed by the Empire, like need to therefore work double time to like more actively assert their allegiance to these ideologies.
But at the end of the day, I think Thrawn does realize that he is not welcome.
No, for sure.
And, you know, the entirety of the Canon Thrawn books is just like, eventually I need to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah, no. 100%. Like, I don't know, there's I think
Isard, and then, like, in Andor, fucking what's-her-face?
Oh, Dedra Meero. Yeah, no, Thrawn's, like, case is not...
Is a bit different.
Is a bit different because
he comes from arguably a more racist society, somehow.
No, I was just listed him because Kemshal does in Death, Stars, and Democracy. Because I think if you...
But also that book came out before all of the Ascendancy books did.
Yeah. So that makes sense. And just, like, the conversation about, like, state killing, whatever, and the morals of what they're doing that Ayala and Elskull have also translates into a discussion that they have about what should be done with Isan Isard once Thyfera is overthrown, or once her rule is overthrown on Thyfera. Elskull is like, well, why would we keep her alive? She's a monster. She should be killed. And Ayala said, like, makes a fairly good point that, you know, if she is killed, then there's a chance that she will be hailed as a martyr, and you don't want that. But what's interesting is that in this book, like, Elskull starts to come around more to Ayala's ways of seeing things, more than Ayala comes around to how Elskull sees things, in a way that I find somewhat unrealistic. What do you think of that?
I mean, like, I think there is kind of the understanding of, like, I really think he's pulling from, like, the Eichmann trial at this point. I could be wrong. I don't know. But...
No, I thought that too.
Is, like, I do think after a certain point, like, the thing with Eichmann is, at the end of the day, like, they did execute him. They didn't put him in prison. Like, he... very dead. And I mean, when you look at, like, I'm not going to speculate on the morality of the assassination of Osama bin Laden. I ain't gonna do that. That is not my fucking prerogative. But at the end of the day, they dumped his body in the middle of the ocean. Like, it's not necessarily that you shouldn't, I guess, do anything about that you shouldn't kill these people, that you shouldn't assassinate these people. It's the way that you do it, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Yeah. You better not allow there to be anything that could be used as a shrine of some kind. Like, there should be no, like, memorial space possible.
At all.
Yeah. There's one thing that I do want to say that's sort of unrelated to this, but still sort of, like, I know we were going to skip over, like, Reformed Imperials or whatever, but I think I did want to mention briefly that it is very interesting. This is, like, completely unrelated from Ayala and Elskull, but maybe I'll find a place that it could fit elsewhere, is the fact that Booster Tarek accuses Huff Darklighter of Palpatinistic leanings.
Racist.
That Huff? That's
no, Huff's a fascist.
Yeah.
I just assumed that's what that meant.
That's what that means.
Yeah,
which is crazy. Your son is Biggs Darklighter, hero of the rebellion. That's just fascinating to me.
I mean, it happens.
It does happen, I know. But it's also really interesting because then when Corrin is, like, in Huff's, like, library, he's like, oh, this really looks like the parts of the Lusankia that where imperial officials lived. I guess he just did that because he's a businessman and he wants imperial officials to feel comfortable where they're doing business. Maybe. Or...
he's a fascist.
Yeah.
Which, like, maybe there's a reason the Biggs got the fuck out of Dodge. We don't know.
Yeah. No. Also, forgot to say this at the beginning. But now that we're talking about Corrin's time on fucking Tatooine, or like crazy that he's just sitting there thinking, oh, I bet the Darklighters think that Gavin is better than Biggs because he's not dead. Like,
that's not how people quantify.
No. Worth. It's not how people quantify
No.
worth. No.
No.
You're fucked up for that, Corrin.
Who thinks like that? Not anyone normal, Corrin.
Nope. Yeah.
Well, that's Bacta War.
Yep.
We did it. Did we talk about everything we wanted to talk about?
Nope.
Absolutely not. Do we ever?
Never.
No.
There's just too much to say.
There's too much to say. Too bad we couldn't talk about the Gulf War.
I know.
The first, second, or seemingly the third one.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really like, there's this one bit in a Death Stars and Democracy where Chris Chemchel is like, I wonder why people in the 1990s were like thinking about control over a very valuable liquid. What could that reference?
Do you have any concluding thoughts?
Well, not necessarily concluded. Transitionary thought. Throughout these past 4 books, little drips and drabs of information about the activities of Warlord Jinja, or Zinj, depending on who's reading the books, aloud.
Who says Zinja?
Stackpole. Not Stackpole. Fucking Mark Thompson.
Who says, and then Zinj is the Bard books?
Mm-hmm.
I like those ones better. They help me focus.
I
the
don't.
sound effects fuck me up.
The sound effects fuck me up, especially when they're like on a spaceship and it's like trash.
Shout out to the Library of Congress creating books for the blind and sight impaired.
Yep.
I say as someone who is sight impaired.
But all that to say, next book
we're gonna meet Ketch.
We're gonna meet Ketch.
Ketch lives. Ketch never dies.
Ketch never dies.
Ketch never dies.
Yeah, but we deal with Zinja in the next book.
We do deal with Zinja in the next book.
This thing in the background will come to the foreground, and isn't that fun? World building.
Not as fun as Ketch.
No, impossibly.
And also we get so much Wes.
Yes, and less Corrin.
Almost no Corrin.
Almost no Corrin.
But so much Wes.
So much Wes.
My problematic fave.
Yeah.
He is my Wedge Antilles.
Fascinating.
I love him.
We're gonna meet Vort Sabingring, fucking
Kel Tainer.
Ton Fanon.
Who I also love.
I do very much love Ton Fanon.
So
gay men are allowed to exist in this book, apparently, but not overtly. Are they
not
gay
overtly?
Yet? Yeah.
They're not overtly gay. But Aaron Alston said they were.
Wow, really pulled a J.K. Rowling on us, huh?
And he wasn't allowed to say they were.
Oh.
She wrote her own books.
No, she I know, but like, which is...
I do not have the internal documents. I do not think at the time they were allowed to write about queer people like that.
I believe you.
Mostly because in the 90s, that was still not great. I mean, like, Mission Hill didn't come out until 98, 99. And that was the first gay kiss on TV, I think.
Wild.
And they won an award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1999, September 21st.
They won a GLAAD award for that show, for their portrayal of the old couple.
I love them.
I love them. They are so Wes and Hobby coded.
They really are.
That being said, before we go on a rant about how much we love the Wraith books, we will see you on the next episode of Interview with a Bothan. Our music is by Thomas Seibel. Our art is by our glorious leader, Lenny Apesos. I am Lou. That's Lenny. If you got questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us, leave a comment. You could rate us if you wanted. I forgot that was a thing. You don't have to rate us.
You can find us on Blue Sky.
Yeah. If you click on the Substack link, there's only one post, and it's from like a year and a half ago. But